Now let's turn the spotlight back home now onto a group of youths who may be young but are anything but green about being green. They're also taking the time during the school holidays period to do more for the environment. In this week's Spotlight, Olivia Song meets some young nature lovers and finds out what some organizations are doing to groom the next generation to be more environmentally conscious.
It's a familiar trip that junior college student Chu Yifeng makes with his father once or twice a month. Quite a journey just to get to Chek Jawa on the eastern coast of Pulau Ubin. It's been a place that has fascinated Yifeng since he was young.
My interest in marine life has been ongoing since I was very young, and Chek Jawa is a place that allowed me to expand the interest, allowed me to develop the interest. And I think that the idea of a wetland, in a sense, is very interesting, that you are able to actually see a part of the ocean and the sea that is uncovered at certain times of the day and the month.
But Yifeng's regular visits to the wetlands are more than just for fun. He's been a full-fledged volunteer guide at Chek Jawa since he was just 11.
Really, all colourful animals are dangerous, so sea sponge is a very good example of this because they come in a huge range of colours.
Having to juggle school and being a guide, Yifeng says he volunteers more during the school holiday period, on weekends and public holidays. That's also when the demand for such tours is higher.
Like I explained just now, it catches fish and crabs, right?
At 17, he is still one of the youngest volunteer guides with NParks.
When I was younger, I wanted to become a tour guide because I wanted to be able to interact more with marine life. But when I became a tour guide and as I grew, I also realized that being a tour guide allows me to interact a lot with people. Our role is to share our interest about nature and the environment, and when we share it with the public and the visitors who come here, we do hope to educate them such that they will be able to know more about how to protect the environment and why we should protect the environment.
NParks has more than 1,500 volunteers to date. Of these, about 1 in 10 is under the age of 21. In all, about 180 people have signed up with NParks to volunteer at Pulau Ubin. And being able to walk on these sand flats during low tide is one of the highlights, especially since visitors are only able to do so on guided tours like those conducted by Yifeng and other volunteers. Visitors also get to see many creatures and species which may be difficult to spot without an experienced eye.
We find it very educational. Not just the children, even the adults enjoy it very much. We learn a lot.
Here, right, is the real life. School is you're trapped in a building and that's it.
It was very interesting. We managed to see a lot of native wildlife that I've never seen before.
Learn a lot about the ecosystem. Certain things that I guess the general Singaporeans won't really know about, because it's not very common. I guess now Singapore's so urbanized.
And one person that Yifeng has influenced is none other than his own father. 50-year-old Chu Jin Kiet initially started volunteering just to chaperone his son, who was then too young to participate on his own. But he's continued to be a volunteer, even though his son doesn't need a chaperone anymore.
I guess it's something which once rubbed onto you, it cannot be rubbed off sort of thing, you see. So the interest is already there, and now the bonding is not just with Yifeng, but even with the NParks team as well. Yeah, and with the surrounding.
Other organizations are also doing their part. A 5-day environment program was started by the National University of Singapore and Singapore Technologies Endowment Program, with the goal of nurturing environmental leaders among the youth. Held during the school holidays, it targets students aged between 13 and 15. The program was first launched last year, and this year it was attended by more than 150 students from Singapore and 8 other Asian countries like Cambodia, China, India, Philippines and Thailand. The challenge they'll be given this time round is to examine the conflicting demands between biodiversity conservation and urban development. And so nature walks to places like Sungai Buloh are just part of the experience. The tours are conducted by experienced guides like those from the Lee Kong Chian Natural History Museum.
It's usually quite an eye-opener for them, so they don't really expect to see that many wildlife here in Singapore. Yeah, so like when we saw the croc today, it was really exciting for them because they weren't expecting that in Singapore waters. Best thing out of this is that they are aware of what is out there, and when they are aware, then they would want to take a step to maybe help in conservation efforts and so on.
This experience has also given me many ideas for my research as well. So it has showed me that Singapore has many plants that I can actually work on and find out more about.
This place is really different from everywhere else in Vietnam. The more I get to know about nature, the more I feel like I have to preserve it, protect it, conserve it.
Other parts of the program include attending lectures by leading scientists from Singapore as well as from overseas. STEP Chairman Professor Leo Tan says such programs go far beyond just raising the environmental awareness of participants.
The student who comes from a remote part of Southeast Asia, he may not be as sophisticated about computers and all, which our city students are very slick with. But he says, I know more about the folklore and the natural environment, about how to protect myself when I'm walking in the jungle. Then if I were to bring you out there, you'll probably get lost. And so both benefit. The rural kid benefits by learning new technologies that he can bring back to enhance the quality of life in his community. The Singapore kid will realize that Singapore is not the world. Singapore is part of the community of nations, and each of us is interdependent on each other.
And it's hoped all this will forge a better understanding across different countries in the continuing effort to do more for the environment.